Hello everyone, and welcome to this interview with Figotina, author of Trilingual Me, Moi Trilingue, a bilingual book about moving countries and learning languages. Ina is a certified French as second language educator. She published this children's book to inspire others who are on their own journey of learning a new language. And this story is based on Ina's journey moving from Russia to Canada. Ina is generously giving away a copy of her book, so if you want a chance to win it, check out the details on page 1 of the program. She will also be reading an extract of her book, so make sure to stick until the end. And now, without further ado, let's get to this interview. Hello Ina, and thank you very much for being here with us today for the Grand Multiliteracy event. I really wanted to invite you to this event because your life experience is something that's common to many multilingual children. And when I say that, I mean moving countries and learning new languages and adapting to a new culture, etc. So your story is a success story. So there are probably some things that contributed to it. And I would like you to talk about it so it can help parents who are raising their children, maybe moving countries. So maybe we're going to start straight away with the fact that you moved from Russia to Canada when you were 7 years old, and you started straight away learning 2 new languages. But I understand that it was quite a positive change for you. Normally we might think that when we move countries, it might be very daunting, especially when we don't speak the language. So do you want to talk to us about how this experience was, so when you move countries, and what helped you be so positive about it?
Absolutely. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for inviting me to this interview and to be a part of this wonderful event. And I'm very excited to share with you about my personal journey of becoming trilingual, and also to talk to you about my book and how I use it in my classroom. So thank you again, Yoshito, for this opportunity. So to answer your first question, I immigrated to Canada when I was 7 years old from Moscow to Toronto. And even though it was definitely a daunting experience as a child moving to another country, I found it to be also quite exciting. And partly this might have been because I was young, and I might not have understood fully what was happening. My parents explained to me that we would be moving to Canada and that I would be going to school there, and I would have to learn how to speak English and then French as well, because those are the official languages in Canada. So I was mostly excited versus nervous. However, there were definitely some nerves, and this is something I talk about in my book. I actually wanted to share with you one of the pages in the book where I talk about this part of my journey. So on this page here, you'll see the beautiful illustration that my talented illustrator, Bonnie Lemaire, drew. So if you can see, that's little Ina in the window there. Here, let me zoom in a little bit. And if you can see the facial expression, she's looking a little bit nervous because it's her first time ever on an airplane, and she's moving to a new country to start a new life. And in the book, I write, she then faced her next challenge, which was called immigration. Her family had decided to move to another nation. On her long flight to Canada on a big airplane, she wondered how she would fit English inside of her brain. And then I wrote the story in French as well. It is on the same page. So in French, it says, Ensuite, cette fille avait un nouveau défi. Sa famille a décidé d'immigrer dans un autre pays. Elle a ressenti beaucoup d'émotions quand elle est arrivée au Canada par avion. So the reason that I wanted to talk about the emotions that I was feeling during that flight on the airplane when I was immigrating is because even though it was exciting for me to start a new chapter in my life, in a new country, and it just so happened that we immigrated in January of 2000. So it was also the beginning of a new century. It was also quite nerve-wracking, in particular when it came to learning English as a new language, because at that time I only knew how to speak Russian. And earlier in the book, I reveal that even while I was learning Russian, I had to overcome a challenge, which was the speech difficulties that I had as a child. And I had to go to a speech language pathologist to help me overcome those challenges. So immigration was actually my second challenge that I overcame during my language learning journey. Even though I was only 7, it was already the second challenge in my childhood that I had to overcome. So it was exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time, but I would say mostly exciting because it was an exciting adventure. That's how I saw it. And that's how my parents explained it to me. Even though I was sad to leave my grandparents and my friends in Moscow, they really instilled this positive perspective in me as a child that we're about to start a new chapter and it's going to be something that is exciting, and you're going to learn a new language and be able to speak in English. And they really made me think of it as positive and instead of something that was negative.
Yeah, I guess that's a big responsibility from the on the part of parents who
Mhm.
are basically creating the story about everything that's going around. So how they move it, something daunting, actually something exciting. Yeah, so thank you very much for sharing this. And is there anything in particular you remember that helped you as well? So in addition to your parents describing it as an adventure, did you get some help maybe from a particular teacher when you arrived, or
Mhm.
was there anything else that contributed to it being so positive?
Yes, so when I first started my schooling in Canada, I was in grade 2, and we settled in a Russian-speaking community. So a lot of the students in my school were Russian speakers, and I was
Yeah,
partnered up with someone who was fluent in Russian in my class, and he helped to translate for me, and that really helped because I feel like if we had settled in a community where there were no Russian speaking children at school and I would be the only Russian speaker, that would have made the transition a lot harder.
yeah,
So that definitely helped. Also, something that helped was because of the large amount of Russian speaking immigrants in the school community. The school had a lot of supports in place. So there were Russian speaking staff who were working at the school. So when my parents, who did not speak English very well, when they went to the school to meet with the teachers, although my homeroom teachers did not speak Russian, there was somebody who was working at the school. There were several staff members who did speak Russian, so they were able to sit in on the interviews and to answer my parents' questions, because the schooling system is quite different from Russia to Canada. So they had a lot of questions about the differences, and not to mention how they could support me, how the school was going to support me. So I was very fortunate to go to an elementary school that had all of these supports in
yeah.
place.
It must be a big difference, like, from the point
Mm,
of view of the child, to know
yes.
that even if you can't explain something in the new language, so English, for example, you can still find some people who speak your language and
Mhm.
get it translated.
Yeah, for sure.
And so for many parents, the challenge as well is to maintain the home language. So for you,
Mhm.
it was Russian.
Mhm.
Uh, so you said you arrived in a community where there were many Russian speakers.
Mhm.
So did you at some point think, why am I still speaking Russian, or push back? Or was it still natural for you to keep on speaking Russian?
That's a great question. So, although Russian was not a priority that my parents set when we immigrated, the priority was for me to learn English because we are now living in an English-speaking environment, and I need to learn English in order to be able to keep up with my studies at school. Something that really helped to preserve my level of Russian, not only speaking Russian with my parents at home and also having Russian speaking friends at school. I would have daily Russian practice by emailing my grandparents who were in Moscow. So because we were so close, we would email daily, and I would email them in Russian and tell them about my day in school, and then they would reply. So I would be practicing daily Russian writing, Russian reading, because I would be reading their responses in
Yeah,
Russian. And then also I would be speaking to my parents every day in Russian at home. And then on the weekends when we would Skype, back then it was that's what we had. There was no Zoom in
yeah.
the early 2000s. So I would Skype with my grandparents, and I would be that would be additional Russian speaking practice that I would get. So I was still regularly using my first language, but it was not a priority for my parents for me to maintain it. It just so happened that this was how it was maintained, and I definitely feel like now that my grandparents have passed away and we're no longer doing the emailing in Russian, I definitely feel like my level of Russian has decreased, in particular with my writing and my reading. But I'm glad that as a child, when I first immigrated, and for many years, even as a teenager, we continued this practice because it really helped. It really helped me maintain my Russian.
It's a daily input, and you were speaking with your parents, but you're also writing with your
Mhm.
grandparents. So that's a lot of reinforcement. That's daily. So yeah,
Yes, yeah.
okay. And so now we understand a bit more about you, who you are, and your experience. I would like to talk a bit about your book in particular. Uh, so I understand the book was part of your master's thesis.
Mhm.
And I was intrigued when I learned this to know first how you came to write a book. Was it your own decision? Was it your director's decision, or how did this happen?
So my Master of Education was in Modern Languages Education, and as part of my program, we had to complete a capstone project, a thesis project, and we were told that instead of writing a dissertation, we could do something a little bit more creative. And I decided that I wanted to create a teacher resource. After some time brainstorming about which type of resource I wanted to create. I decided that I would publish a children's book. And
Mm,
as my studies continued in my master's program, I learned about bilingual books and the benefits of using bilingual books in the language classroom. So that is why I decided to publish a bilingual children's book. And the topic of the book would be about an immigrant student and the challenges that she faced during her language learning journey. So, if it wasn't for my thesis project and this master's program, I'm not sure if this book would have been published. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I got because now I'm a published author, and I've been very fortunate to have many French teachers, including yourself, use my book in their classrooms, and I've received a lot of positive feedback from them about how their students were really inspired by the story to persevere, and how the book is a tool of motivation for them. And how it started a lot of rich discussions in the class about celebrating the linguistic diversity in the classroom, because a lot of teachers teach multilingual students in their language classrooms. So it's really rewarding to get the feedback from these teachers, and also from parents who are raising multilingual children like yourself, as well. So I'm really happy that because of my master's program, I was able to publish my book, and that it has been very well received. And I'm very happy
I
to
think,
talk about it with you today.
and I think it's really an ideal book also when you have students who are new to the school.
Mhm.
So if you, for example, you just got the book and you get a new student, it's the perfect timing
Mhm.
to talk about the challenges that new students can encounter, how it can help them.
Mhm.
So it's a great book. So I see a lot on Instagram and social media that you deliver workshops and you do presentation explaining the benefits of bilingual books. So for any school teacher watching this interview, would you be able to explain briefly maybe what are the benefits of using bilingual books in class?
Yes, absolutely. So, as part of my role as a bilingual author, I like to educate others on the benefits of using bilingual books. And one of the benefits is that it strengthens the literacy skills in both of the languages. There's also an aspect of cultural awareness when students are listening to a bilingual text. And there's also a lot of cognitive development benefits, such as improved memory. So, if you would like me to do a presentation or a workshop at your school board, or if you'd like to learn more, I would love to get in contact with you. So please reach out to me on my social media. My Instagram handle is trilingualme.moi If you're on LinkedIn, you can search up my name, and I would really love to connect with you, and even come in and do a presentation, because before I did my master's program, I did not know anything about bilingual books. So this is why I've done these workshops and presentations, so that I could share with others who perhaps have never used a bilingual book before, or didn't even know that they exist, as a way to educate them about not only the fact that they exist, but also the benefits of using them in the classroom.
Okay, that's great. We're going to leave all your details in the description of the video.
Right,
Um,
thank
And so just it came to my mind that you are trilingual. Your
you.
book is called Trilingual Me, Moi Trilingue, but your book is bilingual.
Mhm.
Have you ever had the idea of including Russian as well, or not, and why?
So I get this question a lot. And the reason that I published the book in English and French is because my book is a celebration of second language acquisition. So I wrote the book in my second and third languages, and both of Canada's official languages. I did include Russian in some of the illustrations, as well
Okay,
as
even
the dedication in the book. Yes. So I am honoring my first language in that way. However, in the future, if I do decide to publish another book, I might consider writing a book that includes Russian as well. But so far, there are no plans for a sequel just yet. But that is a question that I get a lot. So I'm hoping that at some point in the future, I do publish another book, and that would be something for me to consider.
yeah, I guess it depends on the message because like you've just explained, for language acquisition. So it's these two languages that you have learned, and you want to pass that message through by writing it in these two languages. And to finish, I was wondering if you had an important message you wanted to share with our audience. It can be the parents, the teachers, the children. Do you have anything you want to finish this interview with?
So this is something that we discussed earlier about the role that my parents played, in particular when it came to when we were immigrating, to help me in terms of my mindset of, instead of being nervous, being excited about what was to come. And I credit my parents a lot for instilling this mindset in me at a young age. And my recommendation for not only parents, but also teachers of multilingual children is to be the cheerleader for the child, because we've all gone through the language learning journey and we all faced our own challenges. So we know how this journey is not easy. And by having a supportive adult, whether that is the teacher, whether that is the parent, to encourage and motivate the child as they are going through their own journey is something that is really priceless. Even though you do not speak the language, which was the case with my parents. Both of my parents do not speak French, and at the time of our immigration, my dad did not speak English, and my mom's English was not that strong. So it's not necessarily about supporting your child by knowing the language that they're learning. You can still be a great support to them by motivating them, encouraging them, helping them to persevere. That can sometimes be even more of an asset that you have as a parent or a teacher than being the master of the language yourself.
Yeah. Thank you very much for these wise words. I think it's easy to say things, but we need to show it as well. So through our attitude, how we support them. But I guess also, like, I know a long time ago when I was at university and I was tutoring Japanese children, I could see that some parents were really embracing having moved to France to visit different places, or like going into different things with other parents who are not Japanese, and other parents who were staying within the Japanese community, and they were criticizing a lot the French culture. So I guess the attitude of the parents has a really big impact on the children for looking at them for guidance.
Absolutely, yes.
So thank you very much again for your time and for talking to us about your book. So Trilingual Me, Moi Trilingue. And we'll leave all the details in the description. So for those of you who are interested, and I think you're also giving away a copy of your book. So we'll leave all the explanations about how you can win one of the copy of Ina's book.
Thank you very much, Pepito. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I did. If you want to learn more about this book or want a chance to win a copy, I will let you check the details in the program. If you're interested in multilingual literacy, I also invite you to follow the rest of the event as well as the interviews from the previous years.